They didn't issue any declarations. There were no breaking news banners or televised ceremonies. And yet, by the time August arrived, it became clear to those who watch closely, something major is shifting within the House of Windsor. Prince William and Princess Catherine are no longer simply the future of the monarchy. They are, in all but name, already at the heart of it. As the calendar flipped to a new month, the official accounts representing the Prince and Princess of Wales quietly released their traditional July Rewind. A seemingly simple video montage, elegant and understated, summarizing their public appearances and engagements over the past 4 weeks. But beneath its polished surface, this digital reel was carrying a much heavier message. It was a statement of presence, of continuity, and of a monarchy being carefully, but unmistakably, transferred into their hands. Because while the world politely watches the gradual recovery of King Charles III, another process is already in motion. One where his son and daughter-in-law are stepping into a vacuum with purpose, poise, and precision. The July Rewind begins with William's proudest initiative, a 2-year anniversary video marking the progress of Homewards, his ambitious campaign to eradicate homelessness across the United Kingdom. In it, we don't see a royal waving from balconies. We see a man shaking hands in shelters, listening to stories, looking directly into the face of suffering. And we see impact. Not just headlines, results. It's a different kind of power. Not symbolic, but structural. This is not the kind of work that garners the glamour of state dinners or tabloid headlines. But it is the kind of work that builds trust. That says, I'm not just preparing to lead, I already am. Then, without fanfare, the rewind pivots to Catherine. Dressed simply. No press alert. No entourage. She appears, unannounced, at a mental health garden within Colchester Hospital, planting a rose named after herself, not for vanity, but for meaning. A rose rooted in the soil of a recovery space. A symbol of healing placed in a sanctuary of suffering. It's easy to overlook this moment. But it was powerful in its intimacy. Patients and staff alike were caught off guard and touched. Not by the princess's beauty or elegance, though she carried both effortlessly, but by her quiet humanity. And that, more than anything, may define this new royal strategy. Less spectacle. More sincerity. Less institution. More connection. And yet, when the moment for glamour does come, they deliver. The rewind captures their appearance during the French state visit, and it is impossible to deny, William and Catherine stole the show. Catherine's red gown, a deliberate nod to the French tricolour, shimmered under the lights of the Élysée Palace. Her tiara, her bearing, her smile, all communicated diplomacy not through speeches, but through grace. William, by her side, didn't need to dominate. His power was in his restraint. In his stillness. In knowing that the world was watching, and liking what they saw. It was soft power at its finest. The kind that doesn't announce itself, but leaves a lasting impression long after the cameras have gone. Then come the family scenes. Wimbledon. The Women's Euro. George, Charlotte, even little Louis, making carefully curated public appearances that feel less like royal promotion and more like family tradition. Each shot is chosen to convey warmth, relatability, and continuity. The next generation, learning not just the rituals, but the rhythm of public life. This isn't coincidence. This is choreography, but not the artificial kind. It's rehearsal. Exposure. Introduction. Because make no mistake, these children aren't being shielded. They are being seasoned. And through it all, July ends where it began, with purpose. Prince William, once again, stepping into a space that many royals avoid, grief, danger, and truth. His tribute to the fallen rangers of World Ranger Day was a stark reminder of where his heart lies. Not just in titles and traditions, but in the preservation of life, human and wild alike. His voice, in that message, wasn't performative. It was tired. Honest. Almost fatherly. The kind of tone that doesn't command attention, but earns it. And when the rewind fades to black, we're left not just with images, but with the unmistakable feeling that this couple is no longer waiting. They are doing. But why now? The answer, though unspoken, hovers over every frame: King Charles. Behind palace doors, reports continue to circulate that the monarch, still battling cancer, is leaning more heavily than ever on his son and daughter-in-law. One anonymous insider described it as a quiet delegation of duty. Another said Charles sees William and Catherine as indispensable during this delicate period. And while the palace maintains a dignified silence, the evidence is in plain view. The sheer volume of the couple's public appearances. The increasing seriousness of their engagements. The tone of their messaging. The way the camera now lingers longer when William enters a room. The subtle, nearly imperceptible narrowing of focus, away from the king, and toward the prince. This isn't a coup. This is contingency. Because the monarchy, despite its rituals and robes, is always looking forward. Always preparing for the unspoken, the inevitable. And William and Catherine. They are not just playing the part. They are writing the next act. Their roles are expanding not because they asked for it, but because the institution needs them to. And more importantly, because the public wants them to. Poll after poll shows their popularity rising, especially among younger and middle-aged demographics. And among older viewers, the core of royal viewership, they are not just liked. They are trusted. It's not because they are flashy or radical. Quite the opposite. It's because they represent something rare in modern public life: dependability. They show up. They listen. They avoid scandal. They evolve, but slowly and deliberately. They speak the language of tradition without sounding rehearsed. They speak the language of progress without sounding performative. And in doing so, they are becoming something the monarchy hasn't had in decades: predictably reassuring. But that doesn't mean they are boring. Because behind the smiles and small talk lies strategy. Their social media isn't random, it's a digital crown. Carefully polished, meticulously controlled, and increasingly influential. Every rewind, every repost, every photo, it all contributes to the story of two people who are already governing, not in law, but in image. Not in power, but in presence. They are building a monarchy that doesn't just survive, but adapts. And they are doing it together. That's part of the magic. William alone is a future king. Catherine alone is a future queen consort. But together, they represent something bigger: unity, family, balance. In a world of broken leadership, scandal, and instability, they offer something simple, but powerful: stability. And that may be the greatest act of service they can give right now. In a time of political whiplash, international tension, and royal uncertainty, they are the calm center. And more than that, they are hope. Hope that the monarchy can evolve without losing its identity. Hope that royalty can be modern without becoming shallow. Hope that a future king can speak to the world not just with duty, but with empathy. Because the legacy of William and Catherine won't be built on grand gestures. It will be built on consistency. On dignity. On moments like this rewind, quiet, rich in meaning, and unmistakably royal in the most human way. So while Charles still wears the crown, the eyes of the nation, and of the world, are beginning to turn. Not with impatience, but with trust. And that shift is the most royal transformation of all.